Hi there, this is one of two videos I'm putting out at the same time. The first one, this one, is going to be how to make Gall Ink, and the second one is going to be how to make your own paper, which I use at the end of the video. Making Gall Ink is actually quite easy. The galls are usually quite easy to get off the oaks, and it's a very simple process. As well as the galls, you're going to need jars, you're going to need water, and you're going to need something called ferrous sulfate, which helps to darken the ink. You can also replicate that by putting rusty metal in vinegar. Now, I found a little bit of rusty tool in a ploughed field the other day, and what I'm going to do is refer to that henceforth in the video as the flip. The type of galls you want are called marble galls. Quite obvious why. Just out of interest, the other large galls that I commonly get around me are the oak apple, nopper, and a rather pretty artichoke gall. These are the marble galls in close up. You can see it's quite a variation in size, and they've also got multiple exit holes on them, these ones. And here you can see on this fine example the small hole that the actual larvae lived in and the exit channel that it dug that was fainting up at 2 o'clock. As I'm doing two lots with the ferrous sulfate and the thingamy solution, I'm going to be looking at about a dozen galls. As it's in a pestle and mortar, predictably we've got to pound it to a powder. See if you can do this without losing any in the initial stages. And that's what you're aiming for. You probably won't get it perfect because these really are harder than they actually look. Now, depending where you read, some say you can mix the crushed galls and water together cold, some say you've got to boil it, some say you've got to steep it overnight. So what I'm going to do is I've got some boiling water on now on a little camping stove, and I'm just going to let it steep for a couple of hours. It's fine. I'll just switch it off and let it cool down a little. So what I've done here with these two small jars, I've divided up the gall mixture into them equally, and then in this big jar with this rather funny looking liquid, that's actually white wine vinegar that we're going to put the flip in to make the ferrous sulfate equivalent. There we go, just going to add the boiled water, just a dash. There's probably a supposedly correct amount, but this will do just for what we want to do with it. And so, because the lid without any writing on is next to the flip and vinegar solution, I'm going to use that in there to turn it black, and this one will be the ferrous sulfate. So I'm going to leave these for a couple of hours or so, just to have a little steep with the occasional agitation. There we go, that's had a good 2 to 3 hours of steeping. It's got a nice colour there. So what we're going to do now is just put it through, literally, a coffee filter to get the bits out. Whilst just waiting for the stuff to go through the coffee filter, this is the flip solution. So there we are, it's all done. It doesn't take long, for just a few minutes. So we'll take that out and then we'll turn it black. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you what colour it's like before. So even though it looks quite dark and foreboding in the jar, it's actually quite a pleasant sort of almost goldeny peachy brown. So I've got the lids right for the different additives. So a tiny little bit of ferrous sulfate going in there. A little drop of flip juice going in there. That's your flip one, and that's your ferrous sulfate one. Now this ink has been known to last for centuries, and you can see here under my nail and on the spoon it really does work. And just to finish it off, you can put some gum arabic in. That's what it does, it thickens it up. You don't want too much, just a little dash like this between the jars will do nicely. So as a little experiment, I tried using the gall oak pieces again to make ink, and it's actually made a decent batch second time round. So I'm going to finish off using a piece of paper that I've made. This is kitchen roll and egg box, which looks suspiciously like corned beef now. But what I'm going to do is use some homemade Gall Ink on it. There we go, quick impromptu sun with it. Here we go with a nib. You'll find if you're just using it purely as ink that it actually darkens as it oxidizes with the air. Thanks for watching.